Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. The day before the wedding, I received wedding photos of my wife with another man. Looking at the two people in the photos, I calmly mentioned divorce to Olivia. Olivia's little assistant called me, crying and begging me not to be angry. James, it's all my fault. I sent them to the wrong place. Please don't quarrel with Sister Olivia. Over the phone, Olivia gently comforted him. It's okay, he won't be angry. He can't leave me. I hung up the phone, left a divorce agreement, and turned to leave. When Olivia came back, I had already packed my things and was directing the movers to carry them. She stood at the door, glanced at the movers, and finally her eyes fell on me. James, stop making trouble. You're such an adult yet still playing this running away from home trick. Her tone was displeased and her face was full of impatience. In the past, if she was angry, I would definitely go up to care for her, ask the reason, and finally comfort and encourage her. But now I didn't want to force myself anymore. I looked back at her, picked up the divorce agreement on the table, and walked towards her. You're back just in time. Sign this. We can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau when we have time later. Olivia lowered her eyes to look at the agreement in my hand, and her brows furrowed again. James, is it really necessary? William just sent the wrong photos. Because of your call, he cried in my office for half an hour today. He's just a kid. Why make things difficult for him? William, Olivia's personal assistant, is young, handsome, sweet-talking, and romantic. Except for not having money, he can meet all of Olivia's demands, and Olivia has more than enough money. Seeing that I didn't speak, Olivia also restrained her temper a bit. She snatched the divorce agreement from my hand, tore it up casually, and threw it into the trash. Ken at the door, if you mind those photos, I can deal with them. Do I mind? If a normal person saw their fiancé, who was about to get married, taking affectionate wedding photos with another man, they would surely mind, even get angry. But I didn't. I neither minded nor got angry. I just felt a momentary numbness, and then I let it go. No, do whatever you like. It has nothing to do with me, I said. James, stop being childish. After the wedding tomorrow, you apologize to him and this matter will be over. Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. Apologize, I said, full of mockery in my eyes as I looked at Olivia. Do you think he deserves it? Olivia's face turned completely dark. She warned me in a low voice. James, don't be ungrateful. You must apologize to William tomorrow or what? Beat me up or kick me out of the Olivia family? I interrupted her. Actually, there's no need to be so troublesome. We can get a divorce, cancel tomorrow's wedding, or you two can have it instead. Seeing my firm attitude, Olivia knew that being soft wouldn't work, so she went straight to being tough. James, are you sure you want to leave? If you dare to step out of this door today, don't even think about coming back. Think about coming back in the future and the Olivia family will have nothing to do with you anymore. I frowned, looking at the woman I had loved for many years. I didn't know when she had become like this. It was clearly the face I was most familiar with, but the words she said and the things she did were so strange. Olivia thought I couldn't leave her, couldn't leave the identity, status, and money that the Olivia family gave me. But in fact, she didn't even know what I wanted most. I pushed her away, pulled my suitcase, walked out of the door, and left straight away. James, you only have your current life because of me and the Olivia family. Without me, you're just a useless person. Obviously, I said I didn't love her anymore and I chose to leave. But when I heard Olivia's last words, my heart still ached so much that I couldn't breathe. Actually, what Olivia said wasn't wrong. Over the years, I had been living off the Olivia family. It was precisely because of the Olivia family and her that I could have such a good life now. Olivia and I met in an orphanage. I was 4 years older than her, so I took care of her during those years in the orphanage. Therefore, she was very dependent on me. When her family found her, she cried and said she didn't want to leave me. That was when I learned that Olivia was the missing eldest daughter of the Olivia family. Because of Olivia, the Olivia family had no choice but to take me back to their home together. At first, my status in the Olivia family was very awkward. But after the Olivia family learned about our life in the orphanage for those years, they treated me much better. With the help of the Olivia family, I graduated from university smoothly. After graduation, I originally planned to leave the Olivia family, But it was Olivia's confession that disrupted everything. She said she loved me, she wanted to be with me forever, and begged me not to leave. Olivia's family thought I was reluctant to leave the wealthy life of the Olivia family, so I deliberately seduced Olivia. From then on, the attitude of Olivia's family towards me changed. With Olivia crying, making a scene, and threatening to commit suicide, her family finally compromised. But in order to prevent future troubles, the Olivia family asked me to sign an agreement. I was not allowed to work in the Olivia group, and I couldn't interfere in any project decisions of the company. Even if there was any accident to Olivia in the future, I had no right to inherit her property. I hesitated briefly between my future and Olivia, then signed the agreement with ease and chose to move forward with Olivia. We got the marriage certificate but didn't hold a wedding. If it got out, the Olivia family would lose face. At that time, Olivia held my hand and vowed to me, "James, wait for me. When I completely take control of the Olivia family and have the right to speak, I will announce my love for you to the world. At that time, I will give you a grand and romantic wedding to make up for our current regret." I nodded with a smile at that time, and because of her promise, I looked forward to our happy and beautiful future. Because of this promise, I stayed by her side firmly. For 5 years, I watched her grow step by step, watched her gradually become the general manager, Olivia, in others' mouths. Just when I was happy for her, William appeared. He quickly occupied most of Olivia's heart. By the time I realized it, it was too late. William is a very manipulative person. He just needs to act cute, be obedient, and say some nice words to make Olivia laugh. In contrast, I'm dull and boring, only knowing how to do laundry, cook, and take care of her. The way she looked at me gradually cooled down, losing love and gaining disgust. Just when I thought our relationship was coming to an end, she told me she wanted to hold a wedding to make up for the regret of the past. Because of this sentence, my love for her came back to life. I simply thought that she was just having fun with William until I accidentally saw her phone. She was complaining about me to William. "He's really boring. He has an old-fashioned smell. It's really disgusting." And then came the wedding photos of Olivia and William. I had been married to her for many years, but we didn't even have a single group photo. At that moment, I completely gave up, recognized, and accepted the fact that Olivia no longer loved me. I thought that perhaps I shouldn't have agreed to her 5 years ago. Our beginning was a mistake, but fortunately, it's not too late to turn back. Now everything is still salvageable. I returned to a small house I bought. After tidying up my things, I took a bath and had a good sleep. The next day, I was woken up by the phone ringing. I fumbled for my phone and answered the call. The next second, Olivia's angry voice came through. "James, where the hell are you? The wedding is about to start. You should have some sense of propriety when throwing a tantrum. So many people are here today. Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me and the Olivia family?" Hearing Olivia's words, my disappointment in her grew even deeper. In Olivia's heart, I no longer knew where I ranked. I was even less important than her face. The wedding I had been looking forward to so much had now completely changed its nature. "Olivia, I made it very clear yesterday that I want a divorce. You were the one who thought I was joking. Since you're willing to lose face, then let the Olivia family lose face with you." "James, that's enough." Olivia shouted my name through the phone. "I order you to come here right now. This is your last chance. Don't force me to use other means." Other means? Finally, Olivia was going to use the tactics she learned in the business world on me. My heart twitched involuntarily, and my eyes became a little sore. Can a person really change so much? I recalled that in the orphanage, because she was always silent, she was always isolated. Only when she was with me would she talk a little more. At that time, she said, "Brother, will we be together forever?" I replied to her, "As long as Olivia wants, we can be together forever." But now she no longer needs me. When my thoughts came back, I found that the phone had been hung up long ago. I ignored it and tried my best to control my emotions so that I wouldn't cry. I stared blankly at the ceiling, my mind in a mess like a ball of wool without a loose end. I don't know how long it had passed when there was a knock on the door. When I opened the door, I saw several bodyguards standing there. The person in charge was Olivia's secretary, Julian. "Why are you here?" I asked. Julian nodded slightly and said with a hint of apology, "Hello, Mr. James. General Manager Olivia asked us to bring you over. Please cooperate. I glanced at the few burly men behind him. Whether I cooperated or not, the result would be the same in this situation, so I might as well go and clarify things while everyone was there. Wait a minute, I'll change my clothes. With that, I turned around, went back to the room, changed into a set of clothes, washed my face briefly, and then followed everyone out. But when I arrived, the wedding had already started. I was taken to the backstage and quietly watched the two people on the stage. I don't know who came up with the idea, but it was William wearing a mask who took my place and went up. The host was conducting the oath-taking, and Olivia had a sweet smile on her face. Now let's invite the bride and groom to kiss. The two looked at each other and kissed in the midst of everyone's blessings and applause. I didn't know what Olivia was up to. Did she go to so much trouble to bring me here just to watch them get married and watch them kiss? I discovered for the first time that Olivia could be so cruel. Suddenly, the mask on William's face fell off. After everyone saw his true face, they couldn't help but raise doubts. What's going on? This groom doesn't seem to be James. Could he have had plastic surgery? This man is Olivia's assistant, right? I've seen him before. Why has the groom become him? What on earth is the Olivia family up to? Could it be that the groom ran away from the wedding, and they found someone to replace him? There was a hubbub of voices from the audience with all kinds of remarks. The faces of Olivia and her family members looked very ugly. William, on the other hand, had put on a look of being on the verge of crying and said to Olivia beside him in a low voice, "Sister Olivia, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I didn't put on the mask properly," which caused everyone to discover the truth. Olivia looked annoyed but still patiently comforted him. "It's okay. It's not your fault. It's all that James guy's mess. If he had come to the scene obediently, none of this would have happened." As one of the wealthy families in Jing City, many people came to the wedding, including quite a few journalists. A female journalist was the first to ask a question. "General Manager Olivia, the person beside you doesn't seem to be Mr. James. Where is Mr. James? Didn't he come to the scene as the groom today? Someone take the lead." Other journalists followed suit. "General Manager Olivia, the person beside you is not Mr. James, but you just kissed him. What is your relationship with this gentleman?" "General Manager Olivia, Mr. James didn't come to the scene today. Is it related to the gentleman beside you?" Several journalists bombarded Olivia with questions one after another, not giving her a chance to answer. These questions were essentially asking if William was her mistress and if my absence was because she had a mistress. Olivia quickly calmed down and replied, "The person beside me is my assistant. James couldn't attend today's wedding due to health reasons, but in order not to delay the time that everyone had already set, we had to find someone to substitute." Hearing this, I couldn't help but want to laugh. As expected of General Manager Olivia, who has been in the business world for a long time, she quickly came up with a perfect excuse. I thought it was time for me to make an appearance. When I showed up, it caused an exclamation from the crowd. After all, I looked perfectly fine, not sick at all. It was like slapping Olivia in the face in public for what she had just said. "When did you come?" Olivia asked. I replied expressionlessly, "I came when you two were passionately kissing." With just one sentence, Olivia's face instantly turned pale. Her lips moved a few times as if she wanted to say something, but not a single word came out. Finally, the host stepped in to smooth things over. "It seems that this is our real groom today. Now that the real groom has arrived, the previous wedding rehearsal is officially over. Now please give a warm round of applause again and invite the bride and groom to enter the stage again." I glanced at the sweating host. Presumably, this was the most difficult wedding he had ever hosted in his life. I was pulled down to change my clothes and quickly put on some makeup. In less than 10 minutes, I was pushed back onto the stage again. Olivia, holding the hem of her wedding dress, walked towards me step by step. She stood beside me and warned me in a low voice, "Don't cause trouble, just finish this wedding properly." I ignored her warning and stood there without saying a word. When the host handed me the microphone, I directly said, "Hello everyone, I'm James. I didn't intend to come to this wedding today. After all, Olivia and I have broken up. But in order to prevent some people from doing disgusting things in my name, I'm here. My purpose here is simple. I'm announcing that Olivia and I have broken up. Secondly, I want to send my wedding blessings to her and Mr. William. Finally, I want to thank the Olivia family for their help and support over the years. That's all I have to say. Everyone enjoy your meal. Goodbye." With that, I ignored everyone's gossipy gazes and walked away. Olivia stood there completely stunned, staring blankly at my departing back, unable to say a word. After coming to her senses, she quickly chased after me. She was running so anxiously that she tripped. I tripped and fell. Her clean and tidy wedding dress became dirty and soiled. Because of this, "James, stop. Stop!" she shouted from behind, but I showed no sign of stopping. "Someone stop him!" At Olivia's command, several bodyguards quickly moved and surrounded me. The people at the wedding scene never expected such a show. One by one, they stretched their necks and stared straight in the direction of the auditorium entrance. I turned around and looked at her, sneering. "What's the matter? Does the young lady of the Olivia family want to force me to stay and marry you under broad daylight with so many people present? Is the young lady of the Olivia family really sure she wants to do this?" "No, it's not like that." Olivia stumbled towards me. She had realized that I wasn't joking the moment I said those words on the stage just now. She knew that I had completely given up and was determined to leave her. This was the first time she felt flustered since becoming the head of the Olivia family, and the first time she felt that something was beyond her control. "James, you can't leave. You promised me before. We said we would be together for a lifetime. You can't break your promise." Olivia reached out and grabbed the hem of my clothes, speaking in a somewhat incoherent manner. I stared at her in bewilderment. Then, under her nervous and expectant gaze, I yanked my clothes out with force. Perhaps I was too forceful. One of Olivia's fingernails broke, and blood quickly welled up, dripping down her fingertips onto the wedding dress. The white hem of the dress was dotted with blood, like a rose blooming in a snow-covered field. If it were before, seeing her get hurt would have made me extremely nervous, wishing I could take 10 or 100 times the pain for her. But now, I just looked at her quietly and said coldly, "The promises from the past no longer count since you abandoned me for someone else. When you're done with your business, we can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce when we have time. I don't want to keep occupying the identity of your husband and make the man you love feel wronged." "No, I didn't," Olivia said, crying. "My husband will always be you, only you, James." If it were the old me, hearing Olivia acknowledge my identity in public would have made me so happy that I couldn't sleep for 3 days. But now it doesn't matter anymore. "But I don't want to be your husband anymore. Not at all." With that, I pushed aside the bodyguards in front of me and walked away with big strides. "James, enough." Olivia's words were interrupted by her father with a single look. Someone quickly pulled Olivia away. Today's wedding was destined to be a farce and could only end hastily. I thought that after my outburst, Olivia and the Olivia family, knowing my attitude, would surely agree to the divorce. Unexpectedly, Olivia still didn't give up. She firmly believed that I was just angry and throwing a tantrum. She sent me a message. "James, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. I was too busy before and neglected your feelings. I won't do it again in the future. I will definitely treat you well and respect you. If you're still angry, then take a few days to calm down and rest. I won't disturb you. Whenever you're in a good mood, tell me and I'll pick you up." I read her message, then turned off the screen and threw the phone aside. I was very puzzled about who Olivia was pretending to be affectionate for. Shortly afterwards, Olivia's father called. "Where are you? Come to the Olivia family's old mansion immediately. Today's incident has already made it to the hot search. You must cooperate with the Olivia family to deal with this matter." As soon as the call connected, Olivia's father's cold voice came through, as if it were an order from a superior to a subordinate. "Dad, don't talk to him like that. He's just in a bad mood." "It's okay, I can handle it." It was Olivia's voice. Olivia's father's cold voice finally showed a little fluctuation. "Shut up. He made you and the Olivia family lose so much face today, and you're still speaking up for him? Do you still have me as your father and the existence of the Olivia family in your eyes?" I didn't want to listen to this father-daughter act and interrupted. "You two can talk among yourselves. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up." "Wait." Olivia's father switched back to his superior-like mode and warned, You must come here immediately, or don't blame me for using other means. TSK, as expected of father and daughter. Their words were exactly the same. The so-called other means they mentioned were nothing more than sending someone to tie me back. Since I couldn't change it, I might as well go along with it. I hung up the phone, got up, and went straight to the Olivia family's old mansion. When I arrived, all the members of the Olivia family were there. But to my surprise, William was also there. As soon as Olivia saw me, she quickly got up and came towards me. "James, you're here. Have you eaten?" Her inappropriate concern was not only hard for me to accept, but even the members of the Olivia family thought she was acting crazy. "Olivia, come here," Olivia's father said coldly, then turned his gaze to me. "James, I think the Olivia family has treated you well, but what's your intention in making the Olivia family lose face like this?" I chuckled. What intention could I have? I just want to divorce Olivia. Today's scandal wasn't caused by me. I already told her my thoughts. She was the one who thought I was just joking. I didn't even want to come to this farce of a wedding. If it weren't for her sending people to force me there, how could this have happened? Hearing this, Olivia's father shot a fierce look at Olivia. Olivia lowered her head in shame, not daring to look at her father. But Olivia's father knew that Olivia was his daughter, so he could only vent his anger on me. "Anyway, you're also responsible for what happened today. Now cooperate with Olivia to issue a statement to solve this problem. Professional people will handle the rest." "Why should I agree?" I asked. "What does this have to do?" Olivia's father stood up and threw the teacup in his hand straight at me. I turned my head to dodge and then looked at him coldly. After a long silence, my sudden laughter rang out in the Olivia family's old mansion. "I'm being daring." I raised my eyes and swept my gaze over everyone's faces one by one and finally nodded as if in agreement. "Well then, I'll show you what real audacity is." Before the words were even fully out of my mouth, I picked up the teapot in front of me and threw it at Olivia's father. Although Olivia's father managed to dodge, the splattered tea water drenched him. Before anyone could react, I picked up the cake in front of me and smeared it on Olivia's mother's face. A scream brought everyone back to their senses and they all shouted, "He's gone crazy. He's completely crazy. Someone come and pull him away." William was the first to get up and run towards me. I could tell at a glance that he wanted to show off, so I didn't hold back. I punched William in the face and before he could react I kicked him, sending him flying. "Yes, I'm crazy. In these years in your Olivia family, which day wasn't I driven crazy? If it weren't for you hypocritical people in the Olivia family forcing me, would I have gone crazy?" As I cursed, I smashed everything I could see and pick up. Finally, I looked at a small wine cabinet nearby, rushed over and pushed it over. The cabinet fell, and the wines inside dropped to the ground. The splashing glass shards and wine scared everyone present into silence. Even the bodyguards didn't dare to approach me. I stared at the members of the Olivia family with red eyes and cursed, "Old fools, do you think I'm eager for these crappy things in your Olivia family? If it weren't for her shamelessly confessing to me and begging me to stay back, then I would have left long ago. And you, as expected of a mistress, you even dared to get married in my name. Disgusting thing. Do you think you're worthy to use my name?" Not feeling satisfied after saying that, I kicked the person lying on the ground hard again. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and throw him out of here." Olivia's mother reacted and shouted at the bodyguards beside her. The bodyguards rushed forward immediately. I slapped their hands away. "Don't touch me. I can leave by myself. If it weren't for these disgusting people forcing me to come, do you really think I'd love to be here?" I was almost at the door when Olivia belatedly reacted and quickly chased after me. "James, you can't leave." Olivia reached out to block my way and patiently soothed me. "James, I know you've been wronged recently. I apologize to you. Stop making trouble, okay? You don't need to worry about today's matter. I can handle it. Stop saying those angry words about divorce, okay?" I frowned and looked at her with undisguised mockery in my eyes. "Olivia, if you could break up with me straightforwardly, I'd think you're a person who can let go. But your current act of trying to keep me is really disgusting. You seem so hypocritical hearing this." Olivia's tears streamed down instantly. She stared at me blankly and asked, "Do you hate me so much now?" I shook my head. "I don't hate you. I just think it's unnecessary. Everyone here is on your side. You don't need to set up this affectionate persona. It's so fake and hypocritical. After saying that, I pushed the person in front of me away. Olivia was pushed to the ground by me, and her hand landed on the broken glass from the previous wine bottle. Blood flowed out quickly. She looked at my disappearing back, and the sob she had been suppressing finally burst out. She was sure that it was completely over between us. In the following days, I tried to contact Olivia to get a divorce, but Olivia always refused me with various excuses. Helpless, I had to go to her place. When she saw me, she was so frightened that she quickly got up and ran upstairs. When the members of the Olivia family saw me, they all stared at me, asking what I was going to do. I'm looking for Olivia. I want her to go with me to get a divorce. Since she doesn't want to see me, I have to come to her. Do you really want to divorce Olivia? Olivia's mother asked me suspiciously. I gave her a blank look. At this point, can you stop that self-righteous look on your face? Do you think that all the things I said and did before were just out of jealousy, trying to get the attention of Olivia and you all in the Olivia family? Olivia's mother's face turned pale, and she turned her head with a bit of guilt. Come on, I won't waste any more words with you. What I've decided won't change. As I said this, I took out a divorce agreement from my bag and put it on the table. This is the divorce agreement. Ask Olivia to sign it. We can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the divorce procedures when we have time later. Then, as soon as I leave, your Olivia family will be at peace. Olivia's mother quickly picked up the divorce agreement and started flipping through it. When she saw the words that I was willing to leave the marriage with nothing, she was also a bit stunned. I'm willing to leave the marriage with nothing. I don't want anything from your Olivia family. Just ask her to sign and divorce me as soon as possible. Okay, we'll persuade Olivia. Just as Olivia's mother finished speaking, Olivia came running down the stairs, clattering. She snatched the divorce agreement from her mother's hand, tore it up, and threw the pieces into the air. I won't get a divorce. Give up this thought. Olivia stared at me with her neck stiff like a heroic warrior. I chuckled. It doesn't matter then, I'll sue. I have plenty of time to play with you. Let's see if your Olivia family can still keep their face. Then, hearing this, the faces of the Olivia family members present all flashed with a hint of discomfort. James, do you really want to get rid of me that much? Olivia looked at me with a hurt expression, as if I were a heartless man. I rolled my eyes speechlessly and said irritably, Get it straight, it's not me who caused this situation. Olivia was momentarily speechless. She left only a sentence of, I won't get a divorce, and then turned around and ran upstairs, clattering. Again, I looked at her back as she went upstairs and added, 3 days. If you haven't thought of an answer in 3 days, I won't mind suing. With that, I turned and left. I knew that with the Olivia family's face-loving nature, they would surely try every means to persuade Olivia to get a divorce within 3 days. If they really waited until I sued, the Olivia family would really lose a lot of face. Just as I was quietly waiting for the 3-day countdown, I suddenly received a call from the hospital saying that Olivia was hospitalized. I didn't know what she was up to, but I still went there. Olivia was lying pale in the hospital bed with a needle in her hand. When she saw me coming, she still had a smile on her face. I knew it, you still care about me. No, I just came to see if you're still alive. If you are, find some time to get the divorce certificate. Olivia's smile froze and tears instantly fell down. James, I really regret it. I beg you don't leave me, okay? I sighed wearily, shook my head and said, No, it's not that you can't live without me. Now you're just used to my existence. As time goes by, you'll get used to my absence too. Miss Olivia, good news. A doctor pushed the door open and walked in with a smile. He looked at the report in his hand and said, Miss Olivia, congratulations, you're pregnant. The baby is already 11 weeks old. Hearing this, hope sparkled in Olivia's tearful eyes. She reached out and tugged at the hem of my clothes, smiling and saying, James, did you hear that? We have a baby. This baby is ours. We're going to be parents. I was also stunned by this news and couldn't come back to my senses for a long time. What's wrong? Aren't you happy? We have a baby. You should be happy. Olivia looked overjoyed. After a pause, she tentatively said, James, we already have a baby. From now on, let's be good and be a happy family of 3 together. Okay? I tried my best to suppress my emotions. It was a long while before I said, "This baby should be aborted." What? Olivia stared at me with wide eyes, looking as if she had seen a ghost. What are you talking about? This is our baby. Why should we abort it? James, I won't abort this baby. Don't hurt this baby. I just think that if this baby is born into a family where the father is absent and the mother is too busy to be around, it will have a hard time. I looked at Olivia and said earnestly, "Whether there is this child or not, we're no longer suitable to be together, so divorce is inevitable. You, as the mother of the child, have the absolute right to give birth. If you want to have the baby, I won't stop you, but you need to think it through. Once he's born, you'll have to be responsible for him." Olivia opened her mouth trying to say something, but not uttering a single word. I turned around and left. After going out, I asked the doctor, "How is she and how's the baby?" I'm really conflicted. Now I'm certain that I don't love Olivia anymore. But this child has tied her and me together tightly. The doctor sighed softly. Miss Olivia went on a hunger strike a few days ago. She fainted and was sent to the hospital. We did a full body check and then found out she was pregnant. A hunger strike? I didn't ask further. After seeing the doctor off, I happened to bump into the members of the Olivia family who came to visit her. Olivia's mother looked at me, hesitating to speak. "James, Olivia is pregnant." I nodded. "I just found out. Do you know why she went on a hunger strike?" Olivia's mother asked again. "We tried to persuade her to get a divorce, but she wouldn't. She went on a hunger strike for 3 days and ended up in the hospital." I remained silent, but I still expressed my thoughts. "I just want a divorce. As for the rest, you can figure it out." After saying that, I left without looking back. As soon as I left the hospital, I met William at the entrance. He was limping. As soon as he saw me, he rushed over, afraid that I might try to blackmail him. Quickly dodged. "Are you very proud now? She's going to extremes for you, and she even fired me and wants to drive me away completely." I looked at him like he was a fool. "Did I drive you away?" He was stunned for a moment. I continued, "She's the one who drove you away because she got tired of you. I was with her for 5 years, and yet she still found you later. It's not about who she gives up for whom, but rather who she wants and who she abandons. There's no cause and effect relationship. It's all her choices." William stared at me blankly, then suddenly covered his face and broke down crying. "I did so much for her. I thought she had feelings for me, but now she wants to drive me away to vent her anger. She even broke one of my legs. Why? Why does she get to decide everything?" The passing patients and medical staff saw this scene and stopped to watch. I felt that William's mental state wasn't right, so I quickly called the security guards. It was since that day that I never saw William again. I think the Olivia family must have intervened and sent him away. Since Olivia got pregnant, she has been sending me messages every day to share the situation of the baby in her belly. She either said the baby kicked her or that the baby missed me. When she was 4 months pregnant, I approached her again and mentioned divorce. She still refused to agree no matter what. I then talked to Olivia's father. Later, I don't know what method the Olivia family used, but they made Olivia agree. I divorced Olivia smoothly. I didn't leave the marriage empty-handed. Olivia gave me a sum of money and some real estate. Altogether, it was probably worth several small-scale fortunes. After getting the divorce certificate, I originally planned to go abroad to pursue a postgraduate degree. But considering that Olivia was pregnant, I decided to wait. I wanted to see the baby before leaving. With this thought in mind, I waited for almost half a year. On the day the baby was born, I went to take a look. The baby was small, chubby, and very cute. Olivia knew I was there. She held the baby and looked at me weakly. "James, look, this is our baby." I nodded silently. Olivia said she wanted to name the baby Daniel. Looking at her expectant eyes, I remembered that when I was a child in the orphanage, my name was Ethan. "As you like, you can name him whatever you want." Olivia's eyes suddenly looked a bit sad. She sniffled and said, "I know you're going abroad to finish what you didn't do back then." Yeah, with the means of the Olivia family, it's easy to find out about my situation in the past 6 months. "I'm sorry I've held you back all these years." Olivia apologized to me sincerely. Actually, I knew you wanted to leave back then. I didn't want you to go, so I did those things. But you stayed for me, and I didn't protect you well. I let you endure so much disdain and coldness. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I smiled. I was well aware that Olivia had always known my status in the Olivia family, and the image others had of me, but she had never argued for me. At that time, I thought those people were her family and she might have her own difficulties. But now it seems that perhaps I wasn't worth her doing that for me. It doesn't matter. Saying these things now is meaningless. I just came to see the baby. Now that I've seen it, it's time for me to go. Olivia called out to me, "James, can I have one more hug?" I turned back to look at her and smiled, saying, "I don't think it's necessary. You have a good rest." With that, I left without even saying goodbye. When I went out, I met the members of the Olivia family. The way they looked at me was strange. Olivia's father looked at me and said with some difficulty, "So when will you come back?" "I'm not sure. If everything goes well, I probably won't come back." I glanced at the time, said goodbye to everyone, and left the hospital. The next day before checking in, I heard someone calling me. I turned around and saw Olivia coming to see me off with the baby in her arms. "James, I'll wait for you. I'll always wait for you no matter how long it takes. I'm willing to wait." I shook my head and refused her with my actions. Sitting on the plane, I watched the place where I had lived for 30 years gradually getting smaller and finally disappearing from my sight. My future became clearer and clearer. I never thought James would leave me. I'm 25 years old this year, and I've spent nearly 20 years with him. I regarded him as my reliance and my family a long time ago. The more familiar we were, the more indifferent I became. After James left, I carefully recalled the little details of our life together over the years. Since I could remember, he had been by my side, protecting me like an elder brother. I remember when we were in the orphanage as kids. Because of the lack of money, many children couldn't get enough to eat, and the clothes we wore were passed from one to another. Those days were tough, but I felt inexplicably at ease because he was by my side as I grew up. My appearance became more and more beautiful, but for an orphan with no money and no power, having just a pretty face was a sin. I remember clearly that in junior high school, because of my looks, I received a lot of attention from boys, and at the same time I was isolated and targeted by many girls. But I never said anything. At that time, only the dean's mother and James were with me. The dean's mother was in poor health, and James, who was 4 years older than me, was at a crucial moment of his senior year in high school. So I chose to endure it silently. It wasn't until one day when James accidentally found me secretly crying. He kept asking me for a long time, and then he learned about my situation. That was the first time I saw him angry in my life. He hit someone, and the other party's parents demanded compensation and his expulsion. In the office, everyone was against us, only he stood in front of me and said fiercely, "If I have to drop out, so be it. You'd better pray that you never show up in front of me for the rest of your life. I'm willing to risk my whole life, this life of mine, to drag you all down. Let's see if you don't believe me." Perhaps it was because he looked too terrifying at that time, or perhaps because James was a promising student in the school. In the end, this matter was left unresolved. At that time, I was timid and cowardly and could only hide behind him, protected by him. Later, I was taken back to the Olivia family with power and confidence. I secretly took revenge on those people without telling him. That was the first time I felt the thrill of having money and power. I only felt a momentary numbness, and then I let it go. I became more and more dissatisfied and less fond of James because he was always disciplining me, saying all sorts of things, and meddling in my affairs in life. It was at this time that I met William. He was, apart from being short of money, an almost perfect listener, or perhaps a sycophant. I actually knew a lot about William's behaviors, but when things came out of his mouth, they took on a different nature. With him around, I could save a lot of trouble. When did James find out about William's existence? Probably when I was drunk and William was helping me back and he happened to run into us. I was drunk, but my mind was clear. William provoked James, saying, "You're general manager Olivia's boyfriend? You don't look like much." James remained silent and just took me from William's hands. After William left, he sat beside me, gently stroked my face and said in a low voice, "I don't seem to feel your love anymore." At that time, I thought he was being melodramatic. I provided him with food, drink, and money. He didn't have to do anything, and I gave him the best of everything, including the love he talked about. What I thought were trivial matters were, in his eyes, as heavy as Mount Tai. The way he looked at me grew colder and colder, and I also thought he was becoming more and more insatiable until a few photos appeared, which became the last straw that completely broke the camel's back, severing the last thread of our relationship. He left without looking back. He left resolutely and gracefully. I tried to keep him, saying nice things, comforting, threatening, begging, and in the end even using the child couldn't tie him down. I knew that from the day he walked out of that door, he no longer belonged to me. But it doesn't matter. There will be ample time in the future. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to him until he forgives me.